Hello and welcome to another webinar Wednesday. This is Trevor, and today we're going to be talking about setting up meeting or event campaign ideas. And so if we go ahead and hop into the campaign to get started, the event referred to could be a webinar, it could be a live event, a trade show, various things like that. And we can actually make this more and more elaborate as we go, but here's just a basic structure that I'd like to walk through just to get started. So to start things off, we might want to invite our existing group of contacts and have some sort of email letting them know about the event, and if they're interested, they can go ahead and sign up. Now, the reason this little guy up here is with an arrow pointing down is indicating that I've actually set this form to be an entry point. In other words, I click on the lower left-hand square and it says this goal can be achieved by any contact. Otherwise, it defaults to be only contacts in this campaign, which means basically I'll have to be coming through here at this point to get this form to be not only recognized, but adding me to the next step of the confirmation emails. Whereas if I actually change it, the reason I would want to be having it achieved by any contact is, let's say I want to put this sign up form on my website or on other locations like that. Having it as an entry point will allow anyone who fills it out to be started at this point in the campaign and move forward with confirmation emails and that sort. So once they sign up on the form, and again, you can do whatever you'd like with the form, whether it's putting a video on there or having it just simply a small portion of a larger page on your site, that your site is actually the one telling them more and seeing more about the event, things like that, whatever you prefer. So either way, once they fill it out, they'll be started here. Then they have a confirmation reminder email sequence. What is often done to try and leverage a little bit more is once people are coming in here, and let's open this up. So we might have an automatic email that would go out to them just saying, thank you for registering. We have everything set for you. Here's a confirmation of the details. And then you can, if you wish, maybe have included in that initial email an invitation or an explanation about, hey, if you want to invite your friends, we'll do this for you, give you this promo code or this or that. And so if they choose to share the content socially, if you want to incentivize it, great. If not, and you think it'll be sufficient, that's fine too. Once they click and actually share it socially, which we'll talk more about in just a moment, we can then provide them some sort of incentive or whatever the case is. And then those who actually come through that social share will actually be directed to a different form. They'll be directed still to sign up for the event, but through a form which will be separate to allow us to tag them to know how effective really was the social sharing aspect. Yes, we know how many clicked to share, but how many referrals actually came in from those shares. And so that's what this is having a separate form location for those who want to share it socially, to be able to tell their, or rather, it'll display and have their friends sign up through this other form. And then we can tag them, drop their friend right into the confirmation emails, and hopefully they'll start sharing it with their friends and things. So beyond that, if it's a specific date of an event, you can easily use a date timer, of course, and just set the date of whenever you want, like another maybe day before, day of reminder to go out to them. However, if it's maybe you have a couple of different choices of the date that the event will take place, and they choose when they register which event that they will choose that they will attend, you can use either a field timer. So, for example, if you have a certain date selection made, then this could be based off of a custom date field, which is what the field timers are for. Or depending again on your preference, let's say you had two different date selections, you could easily have two different confirmation/reminder email sequences, one for the one date and you use a date timer, one for the other date and you use just a different date timer. So that could be one way to save yourself actually a couple extra actions that you would have to do to fill in a date field on the form or anything like that, based if they have multiple choices there. So again, just to recap, they'll sign up. They'll get their confirmations, hopefully share it with their friends who will come back through. Give them whatever sort of reminders you wish. And then we can follow up to attend the event or didn't attend the event. I've given you the plain view option to see where you have ones who do attend, ones who don't. To be honest, this section down here below is not needed because this sequence right here can actually not only be the confirmation / reminder, but it can also be a follow-up automatically, assuming that those who are not pulled out from getting the tag of attended are still in here, so therefore anyone in here didn't attend. And so that's why this specific spot is not necessarily needed, but you can have it for clarity's sake, or if you specifically want the tag anyway, then you can do that if you desire. We'll talk more about how that is and clarify that if it's not clear for you in just a second here. But let's just say the event took place. Now, if I have at the event, it frankly depends on the format that you have your event in, whether it's a live event, a webinar, whatever else it might be. You can do, if you have an attendee list, whether, if you can control the registration once they get to the event, that would be ideal because you could easily make it an Infusionsoft form, and this could be, again, right here, just a little form that they might put in their email, and that's it, the email they use to sign up or whatever else you might want to use. We just need an email regardless if you do use an Infusionsoft form, simply to know in Infusionsoft who filled it out, because again, the email is our unique identifier when we do duplicate checking, to be able to say, yes, only this one other person in the system has the email, so therefore it must be them, and they're in the sequence, so they'll be pulled into the attended event. Thank you for coming. So again, if you want to do it that way, great, if you have that option. But some events just simply don't allow you to control the registration process or even have a registration process. So they might pass you an attendee list down the road or after the fact. So you can take the attendee list and we can make sure that they're tagged in Infusionsoft. One way to do that is to import the list and then merge them together. Of course, run through your admin data cleanup section and do a dupe check, merge them together. And the reason I haven't mentioned apply any tag yet is because by default, as soon as you do an import, again, it's a standard contact import does not do a dupe check. It's going to create a new record for every one of the people that you have on your list. But it also tags them of the date and time of the import. It creates a tag automatically for you. So when you merge the duplicates together, you can easily still do a search off of those who have that specific date and time import tag. And again, now you'll be left over with those who are still waiting here. And you can just run an action on them to apply the attended an event tag. Once that's applied, those who have attended in that existing bucket will get pulled over here. Now, with that being said, I want to just briefly clarify which selection you'll use when doing a merge if you do this approach. So again, in the campaign, we have the existing group, and let's just say we've imported our list of contacts that attended and done our dupe check, right? But now we have to make one of these two selections. Should we overwrite old data with new data, or should we only add new data, not override old data? Now, again, if you recall on seeing one of our past webinars and talking about this, this actually also influences which record will be kept. Is the old record kept or the new one kept? And overriding old data with new data will only keep the newest record. I don't recommend for this specific situation that you do this. The reason being is the old contact record is the one that's already in the campaign, and that's the one we need to be remaining in the campaign. So I would recommend this one, since again, we're not changing any field data, we're just simply identifying who attended. So again, the choice that you would want to make in this situation would be merge duplicate contact records by only adding new data, not overriding old data. That selection will ensure that those who are already in the campaign stay in the campaign, those new ones get merged with the old, and then the tag, you can run your search and just simply run the action to apply the attended event tag, and everyone will be able to move out who attended, and then you have the thank you for coming. You can do whatever you want there with emails or so on. Those who didn't attend, again, you could either run a separate action if you wish. Those who weren't in there to get the tag. To be honest, the other approach that you could do that I would recommend is in here you can adjust the title as desired. Follow up for not attended. In the sequence itself, presumably you would have your maybe day of reminder. Let's just say this is the day of reminder. There we are. So once that takes place, the next thing that you would do is another date timer, and then you could then, if you want to tag, great. If you only want to have like a "we missed you" email, that's fine too. What this is going to be is basically how long or what date do you think it will be that you know for sure you would have done this, that you have already run your action to attend the event. If it's the day of, perfect. Just make this the day after or 2 days after if you want some buffer. Whatever you want to do, just 2 days after the event date, and then start doing your follow-up, because again, at that point, assuming you did everything that we just mentioned, you will at that point be able to know that only the people still in this sequence are those that that haven't attended, of course. So that's what we would do there. However, the piece that you would probably want to avoid, and one reason in this situation that you would likely not want to do that, you just want to do your thing like this, day of reminder, is because you have your social sharing. And this actually, if you make this a tag, tagging them that they social shared, clicking that link, you could disconnect all of these lines and everything would be fine. And you would still have your separate, sorry we missed you, you didn't attend bucket here. Because again, having this sequence, the reason I changed this to be when a goal is achieved, this sequence runs until complete, is I just saw that we currently had this as a link click goal rather than a tag. And because of that, if at any point they social share, which we're hoping for, we would actually stop them before the final reminders were sent out in this sequence. So because we wouldn't want that, you can do it like this, but again, it defeats the purpose of these two lines, because these two are for those who attended the event. You would, if you, for example, didn't do this and built the did not attend here, they would run it until it's complete. So I'm hopefully explaining it well enough that you can see that predicament. So what I would recommend is, if you do keep it with the link goal rather than a tag, and you keep the lines, I wouldn't recommend putting the "sorry we missed you" follow-up in that sequence of the confirmation reminders, because again, it would run that email for anyone who even did attend. It wouldn't pull them out because of our settings to keep them running, because we don't want it stopped when they social share. Apart from this, there's a couple other little things that you might want to know. In the confirmation email reminder sequence, right now, again, we only have our reminders via email, which is fine. However, there are other options out there. For example, you can, if you have a text service, you can easily have like maybe a HTTP post, which is typically what's used, where it's essentially sending a message to a certain location, which in this case would trigger a text message to send to the client, where you could send a few if you wanted throughout the process, or at the event. You could have, everyone just text this to whatever, and you'll, maybe that's the way that they attended. We could have different actions run accordingly. So that's one option for you. And the text services out there, I mean, there's plenty to choose from. Success Engine even has one that we offer, and to be quite honest, it's actually one of the cheapest ones out there. You can certainly look around and choose whatever you think is best, but here it is, the texting app. What we do is the backbone of almost any texting service is a company called Twilio, and the Twilio service is actually you would set up an account with them directly. So you would have your texting things. But what we have built is an integration between your Twilio account, which is again one of the cheapest options out there, and Infusionsoft. So that's what you'd have, and then you have a 30-day trial and then $35 a month. But you have tons of features and flexibility and whatnot. You can do smart responses and keywords. You can say if you text this keyword from your event, for example, then we'll give you a promo code. Or you can even, we have upcoming conversations where you can basically say, oh, just one last thing, we need your email, please text your email, and then say, thanks for sending us your email, we'll be sending you the yada, yada, yada. And so you can do it even from other locations around the world. The other locations around the world, again, it's all, since it's through Twilio, it's not like we're charging you any different. We just have the integration service. You set up whatever, if you want multiple numbers for different local areas. If you want international things, you can do whatever you need, and then we provide you the platform to easily build out your texts, trigger the things that you need from Infusionsoft with keywords and whatnot, and then easily we provide you what to put into the HTTP post. So that's one option out there. I mean, you have plenty of others on the marketplace as well, and you can compare prices, see whatever you want to do. You can just type in, for example, like text, and this is again just at marketplace.infusionsoft.com to find any of the additional services. So you can see there's plenty of choices and things to check if you desire. So that's one option for you. You can do different texts. Apart from that, the only other thing that you might consider, rather than actually having them, for example, if we go into the confirmation email for the social sharing, I wanted to show you a little bit about how that would work. And some options you have there. So again, you have your platform. You can see there's different social icons. Possibly, I have kind of a light background, so you might not see them. But long story short, if I add a social section here, and you can have it allow your leads and contacts to share on Facebook, for example, let's just say. And so if they share it on Facebook, what I wanted to show you, if I go under my layout and style, and why it's under here is beyond me, but layout and style, if you go to the layout section, it's referring to this specific icon, the social share snippet. And so social sharing layout, show form, on or off. What this is saying is basically, if the client shares this email, it's not only going to share the message, but if I turn on this show form, I can actually tell it that I want it to show a specific opt-in form when they share this email. So it will display the email on the social platform, as well as the specific opt-in form as well. And what you can do, I don't have the form marked as ready or anything yet, so I can't reference it in that email. But if I had this specific form set up and uniquely, catered to the social platform, you can easily reference the form in that, again, the layout drop down section, and just choose the form. And then when they share it, it will share the message and this form. So when they click and do that, now any of their friends, of course, can easily from their post sign up right there. So that's what that's referring to, and that's how you would get the social sharing to trigger. That is, in a nutshell, signing up for an event and how you can get a little bit more from it, and hopefully find some benefit there. There's plenty of other services out there that you might already have be doing this initial portion. And for example, Eventbrite or other platforms there. There are connections from, for example, Eventbrite and Infusionsoft. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Zapier, which is another, it's basically a middleman, already has pre-established connections with Eventbrite to bring it into Infusionsoft. There are little, I think, add-ons even for other services like that you can have, for example, apply a tag to the individual once they sign up. So you might just, for the specific source that you're using, you might just run a Google search of whatever that location name is, Eventbrite, for example, and Infusionsoft. And there's, I'm sure, different articles either through Zapier or other services that'll get you there. Or worst case, you don't find anything, and you can let us know, and we can try and work with you and see what options we might be able to have to actually build an API for you. Or you can check as well the marketplace under the consultants and specialists and things, and see if anyone else can help or have any ideas there. So anyway, let us know if you have any questions in the form below. Hopefully this has helped clarify a little bit. If you do have any questions, especially on how maybe to build out the form in the way you want it to be, or maybe for your specific event registration location, let us know, and we can certainly try and answer any questions you have, or set any time if you need a little bit more hands-on help or setup there. So other than that, hope you've enjoyed. We actually didn't have very many questions. In fact, and those that we did, I've answered through the process here. So thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for next week, and all the best.